Dr. Dryden's. I just converted from a cartridge filter to Dr. Dryden Glass because the technology and filtration were so impressive. I bought the AFP injector and installed it. I don't know what a AFP injector is. I have a 32,000 gallon pool, so I have a variable speed and flow pump. I got a 600-pound sand filter. I put in the proper amount of glass and the grades and started the system. It was crystal clear. A few days later, I saw the water clouded. Now it's hazy and cloudy. The only off thing for my chemistry was the pH was high at 8. I lowered it. No phosphates, and the chlorine was a little low. No leaks, no issues. I don't know if the glass is returning to the pool from the grids. It's a brand new Hayward filter. I see a lot of people having similar issues. Oh,
Okay.
it's an IntelliFlow pump, so.
Okay, so I guess the unanswered part of this question is, did you do the proper startup? When you use glass specifically, you should do this kind of in a hybrid way when you add just a regular media, a silica-based media, sand, is it requires 3 backwashes consecutively. So if you fill your filter with this glass media, if the system's already been running before you do that in prime, that's the best way to do it. If it isn't, let's say brand new, opening the pool, you decide to change it and you put the glass media in there, that's all fine. But what you would want to do is you'd want to start the pool up on recirculate, so that as you're getting it running, you're flushing the lines and everything back into the pool. Recirculate means it just comes through the pump, bypasses filter, goes back to the pool, whether there's a heater or not. If it does, it goes through the heater and back to the filter, back to the pool. But what the requirement in using glass is, when you first run water through the filter, you need it on backwash. Now, here's the mistake people make. The pool hasn't been running before they do it, they change the media, they start it up on backwash. Basic problem with that is any gunk that was in the lines, in the main drains, in the whatever over the winter, now ends up inside the fingers of the filter, and that's a problem. The gunky water that was in the skimmer got drawn in, the whatever. So you always want to start the pool on recirculate, get it running and flowing properly, bypassing everything. Then you shut it off, then you put it on backwash. Now you're taking fresh water from the pool, pushing it up through the sand, up to the glass beads, and you're flushing that out the backwash line. Most of the glass systems today require 3 backwashes. And the reason being is when they manufacture the glass and then they bag the glass, the bags of glass get piled on top of pallet on top of pallet on top of pallet on top of pallet. You get all kinds of little fine granules of the glass in the process of making the glass and the grinding of all these bags of glass together. And that stuff clouds a pool up like that, and it's not so easy to get rid of because it's such a fine powder of glass. It's going to just continually run through your system, so you can run your system all day long, and it's going to go right in, go right through the glass, and right back out to the pool. So if you didn't start with the proper 3 backwashes in a row, likely that's what's happening. That's likely what's happening when you say you're seeing other people have that problem. Because as long as you do the startup properly, glass is amazing. If you don't do the startup properly, now you have to look at, how do I collect this gunk together? Do I use a coagulant? Do I use some type of a water clarifier that can actually clump it together? It's called a polymer coagulant that gets it into big enough particles, can it and will it, so that it can be that it can be caught in the filter and backwashed out. Do you have to use some type of a chelating agent that drops it all to the bottom of the pool and then vacuum it on waste? So glass adds a whole nother layer to the process, but if you don't do the process right on the front side, it is a pain in the butt. If you follow the specs of all of that, then you have something else going on, either damaged in the, I heard it was a brand new filter. That doesn't mean that the fingers were installed properly. It doesn't mean, even on a brand new filter, when we take it out of the box, I check all of that stuff. I reach in there, I tighten those things, each of those, depending on which filter it is, the fingers sometimes need to get tightened, sometimes they're not put together quite perfectly. I mean, all kinds of manufacturing stuff can happen, but likely, to me, it sounds like most of the people's problems are with that initial startup and backwashing, not backwashing enough, and not backwashing with clean water. Those things do make a difference, and I hope that helps.